Do you want to know how amazing people connect? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie.
Thanks for connecting. And if you like what you hear, please share.
Special thank you to our sponsors, Oregon Marketing Group and SMI Property Management. For more information on SMI Property Management and their property management services, go to smiproperty.com. And for more information on Oregon Marketing Group and their marketing services, go to oregonmarketinggroup.com. Woohoo! Whoop, whoop, whoop. It is Monday morning. Are you excited? Well, I know a lot of you are probably going, oh my goodness. Settle down, Russ. It's Monday. Come on. Well, listen, you know what? I love Mondays. I'm up and rolling. Man, I've got my coffee and I've got my water and I've got my great community here with me today. You know what? I get fired up when I get to be able with my friends and do amazing things like live streaming. And today on Marketing with Russ, I have an amazing guest. You know, I am so blessed beyond belief how many amazing friends that I have that I'm able to bring on and share with you because they bring so much value. And Colleen Stewart is with me today, and she is an amazing storyteller. And she is going to share. This is part 2, actually. It was so good last time. We had to continue on because it wraps up so fast every week, you know? So speaking of wrapping up fast, let me get moving. Okay, this is Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Every Monday and Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we're here. Did I tell you that every Monday and Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we're here on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube for you, sharing you amazing people that connect. And if I was really quick, I'd have that up. There you go. This is all about how amazing people connect. What do I mean by that? These amazing people like Colleen, who does it through storytelling, just connect with their community in different ways. Everybody has their own style. Everybody has their own industry they're dealing with and their own way to connect. And you know what? There's so much value listening to how others do things so well. And so we're just blessed to have her on today. You know, I just want to tell you that I am all about connection. And if you haven't got that before, I'm going to make sure you have it now. I'm all about connection. You can connect with me at russhedge.com. That's russhedge.com. And all of my connection links, social media, my email, my phone number, everything you need is there. You can even schedule time directly on my calendar. I would love to connect with you. You know, my goal this year is to connect with at least 1,000 new people. I would love for you to be one of them. I would love to connect with you. And so please reach out to me. I also have a free PDF on there, how to successfully transform your business in 3 simple steps. It's free. It will help you amazingly connect and build community, which is the foundation of any good business and any good marketing plan. People say Marketing with Russ, but you talk about connection all the time. That's right, because I believe that connection and community building is the foundation for any good marketing plan, any good business. So we're going to talk about that today. And storytelling is a huge part of that we're just about to jump into. But I wanted to remind you one more thing before we get going. Besides the fact, if you have not got a copy of my book Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose. It's available on my website at Buy Book Now. Also, you can get it at Amazon or any online booksellers. So I would love for you to do that as well. But the last thing I wanted to tell you before we jump into things today is coming up Wednesday, Successfully Transform Your Business in 3 Simple Steps. That free PDF download I told you. I will have a workshop on that this Wednesday. It is at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I'm going to give you a secret just for you, people that are watching, just for those that are tuned in right now. If you put in the promo code FREE, capital F, free, I will give it to you for free. Jump on in this Wednesday. Love to have you there. So please jump in and be part of that coming up Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Okay, so I need to pull this back off. There we go. So you can see me. And that's the fun of producing the show and clicking at the same time. Suddenly you realize, maybe I should bring myself back on the screen. Okay, so we are going to get Colleen here. She's waiting patiently. Here she comes. Hey, Colleen.
Hi, Russ. Hi, Russ. How are you?
I am so good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Good. Monday morning. You know, you reframed the story about Monday morning. Should be an exciting time.
It should. I am all about telling the story of exciting Mondays. In fact, my LinkedIn newsletter this morning is on perspective. And don't you feel that is in storytelling? Life is all about perspective, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, I remember years ago, my son, he was probably still in elementary school, and I was living in Alberta at the time, and they had switched up the math curriculum, and they were teaching math in all these weird ways. So he would come home with division questions, and I thought, oh, long division. But no, now there are strategies. There were like 4 or 5 different strategies. And frankly, I didn't understand the math curriculum. I was so I couldn't help an elementary student do his math homework. And my first reaction was, well, why are they teaching it to you this way? Because that's not how I was taught. This doesn't make any sense. What is it with this newfangled math program? Well, don't I end up in leading a storytelling workshop for the school board, not my school board, but another school board in the same region. And one of the stories that they had to tell, they said, we need to have a story about the math curriculum because parents are really upset and they don't understand it. And I'm like, oh, you don't say.
That is so funny.
But I'll tell you, by the end of my workshop, because of the stories that they told about math, my perspective completely shifted. And I mean, these were 90-second, 2-minute stories. So I will say I went home to Julian with a completely new attitude about the math homework. I learned with him different strategies.
Well, and I think it's true that perspective is good, even if you don't like something going on or you think it's wrong or whatever. How you view life is still so important because you can get so wrapped up. Let's say they explained it to you and you went through all that and you still thought it was ridiculous and you didn't follow it. It still matters how your perspective is on life because you can really get wrapped up in negativity, being so frustrated with things. And that's just, Anyway, we're going to talk more about that, but we need to back up and you need to tell everybody that missed last time, who are you and what are you up to?
Besides a parent who was frustrated with math homework. So, I would say it's almost 20 years ago. I didn't graduate 20 years ago. I graduated from journalism school, avoided work for as long as possible, did some traveling, and then I got a job with a publishing company, a very big company, doing all sorts of different positions in that company. And it was close to 20 years ago now that I commented to a friend of mine, I want to have a story. I want to own a storytelling company. And the reason for that was I had put someone to sleep during one of my business presentations, full on snoring out loud. 3 months later, I was in a big lunchtime address from our CEO, 300 people in the room. And I looked around and people were trying not to nod off. And there were so many examples of business communication just being broken, not engaging, not being clear, not leaving people with this, focused mental picture of what we're all kind of, rowing towards. And so that's why I thought we should have a storytelling company. And I didn't even know what that looked like. But in 2012, I did incorporate Perfect Pitch, and it gradually evolved, very quickly evolved into a full-on storytelling company. So that's what I do. I go to companies, I put on my journalism cap, I take all the information they have about their business, and I help them craft it into a compelling, engaging, and memorable story.
Well, and that is so important. So when I was writing my book, and so I had talked about my book the reason I'm putting that up there is just when I was writing this, my beautiful wife was so great with me. She would read through what I had, and then she would say, you need to interject some more stories. You're
Yeah.
telling stories, but you really need, because people are really gripped by stories. And so what I did is I took short little stories and grouped them with short pieces of information that I really wanted to get across. And what I found was people that read my book say, I may not have a New York Times bestseller, but people that read it say they're able to get little nuggets of wisdom quickly, because I had simple, quick little story that gets them kind of tied in, and boom, a little bit of information. And that is so important, because I think people love a good story, right? They want to hear, whether it's about you or about a situation or whatever. I was watching a show that we're watching last night, my wife and I, that's got really pretty gripping storyline. And I was thinking, the part that gets me the most sometimes are when the horrible, terrible things happen,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you want to, that they're going to resolve that at some point. But yeah, tell us what factors go into a good story.
Well, I think you just touched on it. Especially in the business world, and you touched on it when you said when all the when all the bad things happen. So especially at work, we think we're telling a story when really what we're doing is just kind of spouting off how great we are and all of the good things that we do, and how, our business was born and poof, it's doing wonderful things. And we just, I sold for many years. So one of the jobs I had at the publishing company was a sales rep. And I love to talk about all the wonderful things that we were doing and the books we were publishing and how great they were. The trouble is nobody really cares about that until you go through the challenge or the conflict. So the part in the show that you're watching last night, the reason that you enjoy that part is because that's where you become emotionally invested. Right now, you're really curious about what the solution is, because you've seen the quagmire and the challenge or the trial. And so that, to me, is the crux of great storytelling. Once you know classic structure, and I didn't invent this, none of the storytelling people out there today invented this. This goes way back to when we were living in caves. But if you understand that structure and you are clear and specific and just genuine about what the challenge or the conflict is, you're probably going to hook them. That is the crux of great storytelling. And we do it automatically. I do an exercise with people in my courses where I say to them, tell me the most memorable moment of your month or your year last year. And inevitably I just get this, usually funny story about something that happened to them, but they never leave out the challenge. I mean, that's they know instinctively that's the crux of the story. And yet we're in a workshop about business storytelling and move them into business topics and they forget all about it. So I think that, to me, that's the essence of great storytelling is talking about the conflict or the challenge.
Well, and I think what you just said is so key, and people don't get this. I would put myself in this category until I really started thinking about storytelling, until I had looked into people like Donald Miller and people like Colleen Stewart and amazing people out there doing story stuff. They, you think you want to tell everybody all your best stuff.
Yeah.
You want to just put everything great out there, and people I get this. I still do this. I look at my own stuff and I think, Yada, 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 yada. Yeah, good, 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 good. I mean, it gets old and it starts to fall on deaf ears. And I still struggle with that because you
Yeah.
don't want to throw all your negative stuff out there. I get that. But you need to be able to tell a story that really pulls people in. One thing that I have found that I'm trying to utilize more, and I need to be better at this, and that is my newsletter and things going out, is to not just put positive things, but put a little bit of, thing challenges maybe that I had in there. One thing in my book, this is why I think it was good. And that is I put in some pretty challenging things I had. I put in, I had a car accident when I was 19. I almost died. And
Mm.
then, but I tie that into, a positive resolution, things like that. I've actually led with that a lot of times when I'm speaking, because that really grips people. It pulls people in, because it's true and it's about me, and it's way more interesting than just hear, happy, happy, happy. My wife jokes I'm a Pollyanna. I'm just always happy, 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 all the time. And I get, after a while, that's, people are like going, yeah, 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 whatever. But no, I love that. I love what you're all about. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I think that when you made a comment about, you don't want to just pour all your negative stuff out there. So I think that's where the structure is really important, and understanding that structure, because with any of the great novels that we read or shows that we watch, the author does the good ones. They do such a beautiful job of taking you into the darkness, but they don't leave you there, and it eventually you come up into the light. And I think that is the other key of great storytelling, is understanding that very important transition, that you want to end on the lift, you want to end in the hope and the wonderful outcome, or if it wasn't a wonderful outcome, then what is the lesson that we can take away from it? And these are the structures that I talk about in my book, The Story Compass. Basically 4 essential stories that you need to be telling in your business. And when you look at the structure of each, you realize, okay, yeah, the challenge is really important, but you also have to solve it and come to this better place. And that, I think, is the gift of a great storyteller, is that
Yeah.
they are honest about the challenge, but they also bring you into the hope and the light. Yeah. I mean, it almost sounds religious, but kind of is.
Well, you know what?
Spiritual.
They don't leave you there. And it's funny because this
Mm.
was coming to my mind as we were talking. So, what is the number one best-selling book of all time?
The Bible,
Yep.
isn't it?
Amen.
Isn't it
You
the
got it.
Bible?
The
Yeah.
Bible by far is the number one
Yeah.
best-selling book of all time. And what is in the Bible?
Short
Stories.
stories. Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what people believe. It's just the
No.
fact that you have a book filled with stories, and then tying them to wisdom and tying them to good things. So you take a lot of negativity. There is a lot of negative stories in the Bible, things that were not good, but they always come to a positive resolution, and they
Yeah.
always come from the darkness to the light. That's exactly, when you were saying that, I'm thinking,
Oh,
yeah, and
yeah. Yeah. So
that's why it's
interesting.
good to me.
There was a book that came out years ago called The Bible Code, and it was sort of this way of interpreting Bible stories as being predictive of what will
Mhm.
happen. Like, if, everything was predicted. Well, okay, but it's just because really I mean, what I discovered when I read Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey, is that we have one way of interpreting what happens to us, and it is this story structure. And if you want to understand every story ever told, you probably should read the Torah or the Quran or the Bible or any of these, or Greek mythology, any of these all encapsulating books of stories that cover every story ever told, not because it was a mystical prediction, but because it reflects human nature and how we interpret the world around us. And so we absolutely want to finish off the story in the light. Otherwise, how could we continue? Like
Yeah.
it'd be too
Well,
hard
no, that you're so right. And I think this is why, okay, so this is my theory
to.
about Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
So my wife's really into Hallmark movies. The problem now is the new Hallmark movies only have one storyline. It's always exactly the same, and it's becoming really predictable. That could be a challenge as well.
Yeah.
We went back to older Hallmark movies, and they are, even though they're going to fall in love and they're going to have a happy ending and all that, that's going to happen. It makes you feel good. It kind of uplifts you, and they need to put a few little twists in there. My FYI Hallmark Channel, if you're watching me, you need to get off just the one script. But in the old movies, when they had more than one script, but it still all kind of resolved the same, it just makes you feel good. So they don't leave you, and that's, I think, what, back to what you were saying, they don't leave you in the problem. They don't leave you in life's challenges. They don't leave you without hope. They
Hmm.
give you a positive ending. They give you hope. They uplift you. And that's what people want. They want to
Yeah.
see reality. They want to see
Yeah.
authenticity and
Yeah.
vulnerability, but they want to move from that to positivity, right?
Right, right. And and something interesting that I've been thinking about a lot lately is similar to understanding that these are the important elements of telling a great story. They are also the important elements to help us live through our story.
Right.
And I know we've talked about this before, Russ, about just seeing the positive in things, but it's also and it I think your ability to live your best life is to see the positives in the bad. So you have to go through the trials to grow as a person, to develop
Yes.
as a person. And
Yep.
that's just a necessary part of our personal story. And I know, things can get really rough. And I've been through, health issues, and, everybody has a COVID story, but Perfect Pitch certainly, had its trials during the last 2.5 years. And I think, and there were those moments where you're kind of like, oh, why is this happening to me? And, I can't deal with this, but you can, if you float
Yes.
above it and realize that you're not going to stay in the darkness. There will be the light, and there will be a lesson that you've learned and taken away, and that helps you to grow as a person.
Yep.
So I think there's a danger. I see it sometimes with my kids, and I kind of have to bump them out of this, is the danger of wanting the smooth path. Like, I don't want any hurdles. I don't want any
Yep.
obstacles. I just want things to go smoothly. Oh, how boring. First of all, who wants to watch that movie? Nobody. And also, you gotta grow your wings somehow. And this is how
Yeah.
you do it, having to go over these obstacles or go through these obstacles. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I couldn't agree with you more. So I'm thinking of
mm.
two things. We're going to talk about the tortoise and hare, and my good friend Noopy, who should be jumping on any moment, did a post on that a while back. But anyway, what I wanted to say was that the challenges and the hard times in life make us stronger. They give us resilience, and they also teach us things.
Yeah.
So this is why, okay, I want to go back to the tortoise and the hare story. So I've always joked with everybody that my children were the tortoise and the hare. And then when I
Oh,
tell my daughter, who's the oldest, my 31-year-old baby, or no, she's 31 or 30, she's going to be 32. No,
wow.
wait a sec. Wait, she is 32. I'm losing track. Anyway, she is 32, but she was the tortoise and my son was the hare. And they go, "You're calling your daughter a tortoise?" I said, "Well, you need to understand what I mean by that." My daughter was the one that when we went to sports when she was little, I came back from the first little soccer practice and I told my wife, "Yeah, this isn't going to last long," because I love sports, right? And she goes, "What?" What I said, "Yeah, Kyla is not an athlete. She's not. This is not going to last." But you know what? She loves daddy and she loves to be with daddy. And so we're out doing this together. And I said, "I'm there as long as she wants to do things. I'm with her." Right. So then my son comes along a few years later. He goes to practice. He is better than everybody. He's the star. Woohoo.
Wow.
He's the Flash, right? Well, they started on two different paths. Well, what happened was my son had the smooth path. My son, and I'm just talking about athletics,
Mhm,
that
mhm.
my son he was better than everybody, so he didn't practice. He didn't put any work into it. It was a boring story, and he got bored. He got bored by middle school. He wanted to quit, and he did not play in high school. And I thought he was a Division I athlete when he was in first grade, right?
Wow.
My
Yeah.
daughter never gave up, slow and steady. She was the type, not only was she good at, not only did she get better in sports, but she was a straight A student. She always had to work at things, right? My son never had to work at anything. Everything came easy. My daughter always had to work. By the time my daughter gets in high school, she's starting on the varsity volleyball team. She's a straight A student. She's doing all
Wow.
these things because she had to work. She had that rough path, that story, but it
Yeah.
made her stronger, right? And my son, he came around with time. And, both my kids are musical. He went straight to music and is a professional musician, that, but in sports, it was just a totally different story. And I think that is more interesting. That's why people love the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're cheering for the tortoise the whole time, right? Because we can see the
Exactly.
challenges and yeah. So, and it's very true. Why would you want to smooth out your path, So it's hard though, in
Yeah.
those very dark moments to, rise above it and realize, oh, hang on, this is my story. I have to go through this. But if you can do it, it makes it so much better. Yeah,
Yeah. No, you're
absolutely.
right. You're right.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
so give us another, okay. Now I'm going to shut up for a minute. Give us your thoughts about why people have such a rough time really getting and telling their story. Because I think people don't really get their story out there. You think it's fear of people knowing about them and knowing the rough spots, or
I
what do you
think
think it
I
is?
I think sometimes it is. So there's a reticence to admit that you've done something. No, I mean, wrong might be not the right word, but that you've messed up somehow. Especially if
Right.
you're a salesperson selling to clients, you believe that your customer is going to want to do business with the company that never screwed up. That the best company out there. Um, and yet, if anybody follows Amy Cuddy from Harvard University, she's the famous body language TED person, the power poses. She did another study recently on how you evaluate people, and you evaluate them based on two things: can I trust them, and can I respect them? And trust is the first question. If we answer no to that question, Amy Cuddy tells us we don't even get to the second. We're not going to figure out if we can respect you. We don't trust you. We're done. But here's the thing: you can build trust very quickly. You don't need a lot of time to build trust. And one of the ways I work with a lot of sales teams, they are afraid that they will break trust if they talk about the times when their company messed up, learned its lesson, and did even better the second time. They just want to talk about, we're doing it great, we're doing it great. But what they don't realize is if they tell the story and include the part where they messed up and they learned their lesson, they build trust so much more quickly. A good analogy that I have to that is did work with Home Depot years ago, and they have a home services department that you don't do it yourself. They'll go find the contractors, and the contractors will come in and do the work for you. And what they found is that if a contractor comes in and does a job and just does it perfectly without messing up, the highest customer satisfaction rating that they will get is a 7 out of 10. They've proven this. He never makes a mistake. If the contractor goes in and messes something up, but then recovers and handles it in a really professional way and, does everything right by the customer, now you have the opportunity to get a 10 out of 10 rating. So,
Yeah.
I think, and that's not to say that contractors should go in and mess something up so that they can recover
Right.
from it, but it's just the idea that, I'm not trying to say that, but we think we build trust in certain ways, and it's counterintuitive, but talking about the times where you messed up, putting someone to sleep in a presentation, and I have lots of stories about when I messed up, can often build trust faster. I think the
Right.
other reason that people struggle with this is because they've been trained in I think it starts in post-secondary school, to tell me what you know. Every presentation is tell me what you know, because that's how instructors and professors were evaluating whether or not we could pass a course. Tell me what you know. Well, when you get out into the work world, what you don't realize is your customers and clients, they don't really want to know what you know. They want to know that you understand the meaning for them of what you know, if that makes sense. They can go on Google and access more information now than at any other time in human history. They probably know more than the person trying to sell them. But what they want, what is going to connect with them, is when you agitate their thinking, and and I'm kind of borrowing from Dan Pink here. There's a wonderful book called To Sell is Human, where he talks about, agitating their thinking and aligning yourself with your customer. And that's really what we're looking for, is meaning,
Right.
instead of what you know. So
Right.
I think that's a mental shift that needs to happen, is that don't pump information at me. I really want to hear the story. And
Well,
yeah.
and I completely agree with that. As we wrap up here, and I just love talking with you, and
It
time
goes
gets
by
away
so
from me.
fast.
I know it. I'm going, wait
Yeah.
a second. But I want to say one thing, and then I'm going to let you get final words and how to get in touch with you. Because people definitely, you guys need to connect with Colleen. She is, first of all of her stuff is clickable. So you'll be able to get to it easily and connect with her, but she can help you so much. Okay. So here's my thing I wanted to tell real quickly about what ties you in, what grips you, and what helps you like other businesses. We all are going to make mistakes. Number one, admit it, right? Number one, admit it. Don't make excuses. Nobody wants to hear excuses, number one, right? Number two, you need to resolve it in a positive way. So everybody makes excuses. Everybody realizes that's going to happen. And if we say, listen, I am so sorry, we messed up. This is
Yeah.
what I'm going to do for you. I go to a restaurant, they mess up, they come back to me and they say, listen, we're going to give you your meal free. I'm so sorry about that. Plus, come back anytime on us. And here's another free coupon for a meal. We appreciate your business. This is not like us. No excuses. We apologize. And here you go. This is what we're going to do for you. And thank you so much for your business. They're just very wonderful to you. And you say, wow, that's amazing. You know what? I'm definitely going to come back to that restaurant, as opposed to the restaurant. And both of these have happened to me, where you wait for an hour and a half, 2 hours, no food. They come to you, they make all kinds of excuses why there's no food. And then they just look at you and don't do a thing. Then they finally bring you your food and it's cold, and they still don't do anything. And we actually, from that second one, got up and left with the plates on the table, left them all there, left the food, and never went back to that restaurant. So again, both of them made a mistake. What happened though? Who resolved it in the positive way? Who actually? And so I would have given, I'm with you, I would have given that first restaurant a 10 plus star because of what they did. The second restaurant, I don't think I could have given them any points. I would have, was there a 0? I mean, and so, okay, I'm going to let you have the last word. Go ahead, wrap it up.
I was just going to say, your story goes right back to what we talked about at the beginning. The first restaurant took you out of the dark and brought you into the light, right? And the second restaurant just left you hanging down there. Yep. It's that simple. I think if we can apply that analogy to our lives and to work, we're going to be so much better. You can find the Story Compass is on Amazon. So it will teach you 4 essential stories you need to tell in your business. You can find me on LinkedIn, and Perfect Pitch Pros, PROS.com is where you'll find Perfect Pitch and all the services that we offer, and you'll be able to connect with me there too. So I am delighted to have been here, Russ. Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to talking again.
Yeah. Oh, and we will. I'm going to have you on one of my Russ Reels live soon, because I just really love what you're all about. And it's just such common sense for people. And listen, let me encourage everybody. Like I said, all of her information has been in the comments. It's been in the show notes. You can click on it, go straight to her. doesn't cost you anything to connect with somebody and actually have a discussion. And that's what you need to do. Make a connection. And Colleen can just give you so much more information that we were able to talk about today. But listen, I want to thank you, Colleen. Thank you so much for coming.
Yep. Thank you. Oh, and just a note for your viewers, you're seeing Colleen Henderson as the LinkedIn profile. This is another part of my story. I used to be married to a Henderson, but it's Stewart now, but that link should take you to the profile.
Got it. Okay. Right. Well, there you go. That explains that part of the story.
It does.
All right. I'll send you to the green room. I'll see you in just a minute.
Sounds good. Bye.
Hey, everybody. Wow. I cut her off right in the middle of the goodbye. So there she said goodbye. But listen, I want to thank you all for being here today. It's so amazing. I am blessed beyond belief with amazing people, and storytelling is so important in everything you do. So today I want to encourage you to get out there, tell your story, just really be authentic with people. We all have challenges. They like to know how you came out of your challenges. So that's what is amazing, is the story of how you were able to resolve those challenges, do better, and how you can help them, right? People have problems. They want to know how you can help them solve their problems. So there you go. So tell your story, be authentic, and thank you again for being here today. We're going to wrap things up. Don't forget, coming up this Wednesday, it is Successfully Transform Your Business in 3 Simple Steps. All the information is clickable in the show notes. If you want to know more about how to connect and build community and get together so you can tell a good story, see me on Wednesday. You can click on that. It's in the show notes and in everything going out there on social media. So until we talk to you again, thanks for being here again today. Have a great day and a great life. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an amazing day.